for taking it down. All right, that should be filled.
You got your EB, you got your JC, you got your MPD. No, what? DB.
Dick butt. What was NPD going to be?
Mr. Poopy Butthole. Mr.
I see. Okay.
Mr. Poopy Dickhole.
I could see how you would.
Mr. Poopy Dickhole. Hey, can I? You got me. We could just have like a side thing where I'm doing this little chore. I want to count these beans because I want to know how many coffee beans go into my 1 cup of coffee in the morning.
That's 1 cup of coffee was worth of beans.
Yes, for me. Yeah.
Okay.
This is like a, 12-ounce cup of coffee, like a big mug of coffee.
And I've always thought of you not only as our producer, which, hello Queen Bee, hello T-Raw, welcome. This is, I'm Weeats, this is the producer. She's just joining us for the first time this week. It's been awesome having her on camera and behind the microphone. And not only is she our producer, she is also our accountant here at Weeats. So
True bean counter.
So it makes perfect sense that she is going to spend stream sitting over here counting beans.
Hey Sega! Hey Yeti!
Hey, King Yeti, good to see you, man. Uninspired says, I'm taking the Amtrak right now, and there's nowhere to sit. It's dreadful. Where are you taking it to and fro, Uninspired? In my
Spring break!
30-something years of existence, have never managed to go on an Amtrak as much as I love it. Or, also Uninspired, I think of Amtrak.
Oh, boy.
When I think of Amtrak, I think of not commuter trains, but I think of basically the trains that go, the substitute for like Greyhound buses. But to most people who would take Amtrak, I think, in the in the Northeast up, where Amtrak actually takes passengers, the majority of people take Amtrak as commuters to and fro work, I think. But being somebody who grew up in the South and now lives on the West Coast, I don't have any relationship to Amtrak, unfortunately.
Although it is West Coast Amtrak.
Heading from Van Nuys to Santa Barbara for university. Oh my God, lucky guy, Uninspired. One of the most beautiful campuses in the world. I was going to say garden slugs?
Banana slugs.
Banana slugs, that's right. It's the banana slugs. Or is that UC Santa Cruz?
That's Santa Cruz.
That's Santa Cruz.
I don't know what San Bernardino.
It's not San Bernardino.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah. Nobody would say San Bernardino is one of the most beautiful places in the world. That's not even the people living there.
Yes, SoCal's definition of ugly.
Yeah.
Gauchos.
The gauchos. Okay. No, I mean, that's fine, but it's no banana slugs. What? Just a great name for a apparently very cool school, UC Santa Cruz. God, University of California, man, we've got some spectacular places to go to school. It's nuts. I mean, Stanford is a public university. Stanford is, in some metrics, probably, if you go by rank class by wealth, like the how much money the class makes, Stanford probably beats all of the others. I think it's very likely that they would. And it's a public school. Like, it's not an Ivy League. It's not a private university. It's a part of the UC system. It's just crazy. And then Santa Cruz, Santa Barbara, Irvine, all amazing. They all are, Riverside and Davis. I'm sure you're great too, but you don't get the quite the recognition. Dogs are going crazy here. Chill. Go.
Yeah,
go.
They're not being good.
And speaking of not being good,
they have been so good in general.
Sega, thanks for being here again, man. Nice to see you. And unfortunately, Sega made it not the first one in this time, so it looks like our first bag is going to Queen Bee today. Which Queen Bee? I'm not sure if we've hung out before, but thanks for being here. The B to B, if you're going to be any bee.
Welcome, John J.
John J, MMA, good to see you.
Oh, that's a good rhyme.
John, that's your Gonzo Baptist, right? Or did I forget again? I think we got a name change. Our boy from LBC. I think.
That sounds right.
And while we're on the topic of great university mascot names, here in Long Beach, we don't have the University of California. We've got also ran Cal State University, and our local Cal State Long Beach, their baseball team, and maybe only their baseball team, it doesn't seem like the other teams use that moniker.
I think it's specifically baseball.
So
or softball or whatever.
Our baseball team for our local university has the incredible name, and you do see people with their bumper sticker that say, "Go Dirtbags."
Long Beach Dirtbags.
The Dirtbags. It's an interesting choice of name. I think I'd rather say "Go Banana Slugs" myself.
My dad's high school growing up was the Orphans. And I think I've told you this before.
Yes, you mentioned this. Yeah, it's so nuts.
That they the basketball team was out a visiting team somewhere, and the announcer was like, "Wow, these guys are in such rowdy clothes that they look like a bunch of orphans," and the name stuck.
Wow. 3, 2, 1, Orphans! The Orphans are behind in the third quarter and stay that way.
Yeah.
The Orphans.
They don't have the nutritional profile in their breakfast.
Please tell me that they at least won that game and shoved it in their face, and then they reclaimed it.
No, I don't know, but I mean they definitely claimed it. They definitely decided to own it.
It would be, of course, way better if they just lost that game and they're like, yeah.
Yeah,
he's right.
Yeah, we're the Orphans.
We might look like them, but we play like them too. Go Orphans. The Fighting Orphans.
Mascots are weird.
Yeah. Their rivals were the Crosstown Vagrants.
No, the Crosstown Princes.
Oh, the Princes versus the Orphans. Well, I just thought the whole district had,
it was endemic in the...
Yeah. It was the Orphans, the Vagrants, and the Harlots. The all-girls school. GTR0, welcome back. GTR0 says, Happy Easter. I thought this channel was Let Go. Well, perfect opportunity to explain it briefly again.
Go back into the explanation.
Kind of was. I have lost my streaming privileges and stuff because YouTube is a capricious bitch. And randomly, a month or 6 weeks, 2 months, something ago like that, I got an email from them saying, "You have been reinstated in the YouTube partner program." No real reason given, but just that I was. So I was like, cool. And then earlier this week, I was like, oh, wait, I've got that back. You know what? I'm look forward to doing some more streaming. So here I am. And GTR0, I appreciate you being here, hanging out on this Easter. Oh, John J says that it is Gonzo Baptist, but his real name is Jonathan Jason Jimenez. Well, thanks, Triple J MMA, for being here. This is just as fun to say as Gonzo Baptist, who says he needs himself an extended baggie as well. This was actually an accident. I don't think I meant to order the extended bags from stores in Bickle, but it's a happy accident. It's serendipity.
Okay, I'm done with
she counted!
I'm done with my bean counting.
Drum roll.
I mean.
Oh, you
I was surprised by the number. My
Can I throw out a guess?
Yeah. Do you wanna take a look?
All right, I only get 5 seconds.
This is my cup of coffee because yeah. That's 5 seconds.
I think there was probably maybe I'm gonna say 130 beans.
Wow, you counted them.
No, I mean I counted 5 and then tried to estimate how many of those sections.
I mean, the closest 10 was 140.
Holy shit! Nice. Okay. Well, I guess I should have waited for the chat to also have guessed.
Oh, sorry, chat. Yeah. Yeah. If you're on a delay, maybe you can guess. I should have done. Oh my gosh! Here's what I should have done. I know better.
Oh, you could have hit the button. We did all this.
I did all that. We got it already.
You could, pretend like you didn't hear.
This is my cup of coffee because we had a conversation where Weeats said he's like, I heard a crazy number of like trees, coffee bean plants that it takes per cup of coffee. And I was like, no, this can't be true. But so now we just need to know like what's the average harvest per
closest
plant.
estimate I have seen, or the best estimate I've seen, is somebody trying to calculate how many coffee trees they would need themselves to sustain their own habit.
Oh, like an annual daily habit of coffee drinking.
And the number that I have seen a couple of times, is between 30 and 40 trees to sustain your individual coffee habit. And that is, like a...
Because, are they...
10 ounces of coffee a day or
They're
something.
not big like maple trees. They're kind of like tall bushes.
And they're cherries, like they're little fruits.
It's a fruit.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that does seem like an insane number of trees that
and I guess they're only...
That would be somebody...
They're only blooming seasonally, so you have to harvest enough during a season to cover the full year. We really don't know, but we do know that in my cup of coffee that I grind up these beans when I want like approximately 12 ounces of coffee. I am using approximately 140 beans, individual little beans.
Yes. And so there are a lot of things that threaten the idea of coffee. And not only is it the limited number of the small amount of production you get per tree, but it is the uniformity between those trees.
Output.
It's the same thing as bananas in a lot of ways. That if there is a...
Because the big one would be...
some kind of disease.
How do you say it? Arabica?
Yes, I think so.
The Arabica beans?
Yeah.
But there are other beans. That's why that bean is specified. But I feel like most of the beans that I ever see are Arabica.
Right, which makes them very prone to
Just
some
like
kind of genetic disease or
Cavendish banana.
Yes. And of course, in addition to that, because coffee is so geographically limited into the areas that it can grow in, it is horrifically threatened by climate change. And that also goes for chocolate, too. Coffee and chocolate imperiled. Hey, Dr. SJ!
SJ!
Oh my god.
A smegtastic Sunday to you, too.
Good to see you, my friend. It has been way too long. I've got to get through this first bag so I can dedicate a second bag to Dr. Smegma Jones, Dr. SJ, as we like to call him, so as not to occasionally... I did just read, this is... I'm not shitting you. I read this Thursday or Friday of this week that in some hospital... Can't remember the country.
Oh, are you...
An extraction of a certain substance.
I ran into this news article
you did?
as well.
It was like 21 grams of it.
And it was clarified, this was a married man. But along with the joke that, married people don't actually they don't fondle each other's genitals anymore.
I hope not in this case.
But at least the news article that I read, the implication was like, because if they were, this could have been prevented.
Yes, let's stop talking about that right now. It is Easter.
Yeah.
But it was a fun coincidence. I'm so glad to see you here and having that image, pop back into my head. It's a big week for smegma.
Hey, Grovel.
Grovel, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Happy Sunday. And if I wasn't sure if I'd ever streamed on a Saturday, I'm even less sure if I've ever streamed on a Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, was 420 ever on?
I doubt it. It is this year, though, right?
The next year, 2025.
Next year. Oh, right. I'm sorry. Next year. If I'm not banned by YouTube.
Oh, it's
Easter and 420 come on the same day next year.
Yeah.
Yes, 420 and Easter on the same day. I wonder how few times that has happened.
I mean, there's like, there's like 30 to 40, somewhere like 40 or maybe even 50 days that Easter can fall on. So
yes, but the range is not evenly distributed, right? Like, it is much more likely.
I don't think so.
It's the rules for when Easter falls are so arcane. It's like because
it's moon based and it's supposed to end up near the spring equinox.
I can imagine some pre-algebra problems being designed around when Easter is supposed to fall.
Yeah, you could. It's like the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the full moon that happens, or like after the first full moon after the equinox. Something like that.
Are you sure that isn't to summon the werewolf?
It could be the same.
That probably is. Yeah, that sounds very complicated. So I just look on the calendar.
You don't look on the calendar. You like ask it into your phone and then like get the Google result. Is that not how when you find out a moving holiday is?
Siri knows when Easter is.
Oh, that's... Yeah,
and that's not
true.
Google.
I feel like anytime I'm like, oh, when is this day? I always end up on Google. I should just go in my calendar.
It'll be right there.
I don't need to tell Google what I don't know.
Those wizards at Apple have figured it out.
They figured out how to make a calendar.
And they know the arcane science of how to calculate the day of Easter.
Oh, Sunfire Scales. Yes, your comments are showing up as Sunfire Scales.
I'm so sorry if I missed any of them Sunfire Scales.
Yes,
My total bad.
So, about to eat half of a 10,000 milligram bag of gummies? That's gotta be a order of 10 too many.
That's still 5,000. I think I did my math right.
Yeah.
That's an insane amount. That is 5 times more THC than I've ever done in a day, and I've never been. It's never been a particularly an amazing experience doing that much, but Mr. Sunfire Scales, Mr. Scales, or I apologize if that was presumptuous of me. Scales, Sunfire. I hope you are conditioned and ready to go. If you've never done anything in that sort of, with that many zeros on the end of it, maybe reconsider, titrate, a little bit at a time. But either way, it sounds like you're going to have one hell of an Easter, which is not the way to describe an Easter, because you hope to have a heaven of one.
Smashed Brand has a 10,000 milligram bag.
Sunfire, where are you located? Do you mind me? Oh, it's Sage. Well, Sage, good to see you, man.
Oh, yeah, we're not seeing it as Sage music.
But I think Sage had told me before that he was Sunfire, and I had just totally 100% forgotten.
Okay.
But my bad, Sage. This would have been, a year ago. Not that it's forgivable, but good luck. If you are in a state that is not legal, which I can't remember off the top of my head, Sage, I would be very suspicious that it is anything like 10,000 milligrams. Depending on how big that bag of gummies is, think about how many actual milligrams those gummies weigh. Producer, will you convert 10,000 milligrams to ounces for me?
I can do that.
I've never thought about it this way before, but let's just think about it this way. So that is a third of an ounce of pure THC. 10,000 milligrams of THC is literally like eating a third of an ounce of the pure THC, which seems...
That's definitely not designed for one setting.
Yeah, but maybe you've done it before, and maybe you understand what that bag is. And I'm not trying to discourage you either way. You know yourself, Sage. I just have never even seen a product advertised at anything, I think, over 1,000, even back in the Wild West days here. But my God, I hope you got a good deal on it, too. Dark Child says, who is the J-Man? That's a great question. I think Dark Child 99, the answer is inside all of us. Or it's Jesus, or it's me because I'm smoking weed, which I guess it's vaping, but J's are a very common way. Well, it's whoever it needs to be. I should have had it taped to my shoulder.
Nah, you don't need to do that.
No. I do also have the bunny here, too.
Okie dokie.
All right. First bag down.
We got, let's see. We're a little bit behind.
Thank you.
So, Sega has an update. Sega is going to finally start their streaming channel.
Oh, dope. Hopefully you already have the name of your channel reserved, set up. Feel free to share your link here. And if anybody wants to go check you out, oh, sorry, didn't mean to elbow you there. Feel free to do so. Sega, what is your child? What's the theme of your child? Did I say child or channel?
You said child. You meant channel.
That's a weird ass accordion slip. Anyways, your channel. What is your channel about? Is it weed themed? Something totally different? Super curious, and I wish you the best of luck. Sega also says that we have cute puppies. There are 3 of them around right now.
Yeah, there are 3. That has stayed the same number for
shockingly
10 years now.
The one you see over there on the bed is...
Oh yeah, you can kind of see her butt right there.
She's an 11 and a half year old Great Dane, and that's
old. That's an old dog.
Yeah, that's a very, 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 very old dog. But they're still alive and healthy. We're very lucky, very, very, very lucky to have 3 old ass,
healthy dogs.
moderately healthy dogs. My pleasure, Sega. What kind of video games do you play, Sega? I mean, well, with the title, Sega, got some indication, but that could just be particular affinity. What are you planning on streaming? Some of the big ones, you know, your Fortnites, or your Call of Duties, or your Valorants. What are some of the other big, you know, all the big video games the kids are streaming?
Sure. Go back to you listing.
Call of Duty.
Oh, you watched some Reddit content with a capital C. He tries to say that he doesn't get into content so much, but there was definitely some adult yelling at a child
At a Call of Duty.
At a COD tournament.
Yeah, it was an adult, just watching an adult man yell at a 16-year-old child because his child got beaten in Call of Duty.
Did he also was somebody yelling that they were a cop? Was that the adult?
I'm not sure. I wasn't, I was more just, you know.
Letting the content wash over you. Yeah, just kind of.
When I'm in content mode, I don't question, I just consume.
Yeah, you don't need to, people are yelling things, it doesn't matter.
What do they call that? What's the style of video that has multiple videos going at once that you just like consume? Sludge videos.
Well, there's
I want to be a sludge video guy, which is so easy to do on the Quest.
There's core and core and core.
I'm not familiar with core.
I'm not really familiar with it either, but I know that. Oh gosh, I know
you
that
outed yourself already. You gotta fill us in on core.
I don't know. I know that that's like one of the niche trends on TikTok mostly.
Is core, but you don't know.
But it's like different core. There's mostly core.
What is core? How can you?
I don't know. I've read about it and I still don't understand. I shouldn't have mentioned it.
No, I'm so curious. If anybody knows about the cores,
does anybody watch TikTok on here? We're on the totally different social media environment, content influencing. It's all different over here on YouTube, right? Or maybe not, but
it's. I mean, YouTube is chasing that rabbit and apparently being pretty successful. Their shorts is. Just growing successfully, massively month over month. I still don't quite get it, but
yeah, should Weeats be making shorts? I guess is our big question.
Can I do anything in less than 1 minute?
There was that time you printed the middle finger.
That's because the 3D printer does it automatically. I didn't have an option of
making it longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have put it in slow-mo. All right, where are we on chat? Oh, sorry, this bag was for our buddy, Dr. S.J. Thanks for being here, Dr. S.J. This bag is for you. I'm a little slower these days, and by a little slower, I mean a hell of a lot. I would do easily 2 whole ovens, a year ago.
Out of practice.
Among other things. And now I struggle to get through 1 in 2 hours. But that being said, we will endeavor, like Christ himself, what he did, he came back.
Rose.
He rose, as this smoke does, vapor. Heat rises. Boyle's law, Charles's law.
Perv nerd.
Good old perv nerd. Hey, we always forget about perv nerd.
That's some AP Chem throwback.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always thinking about my. I think
it is derived from Boyle's law. Boyle's law is the gas volume gas law. I think. So it's. Oh gosh, never mind.
It takes a perv nerd to really explore a Boyle.
Pressure times volume equals the number of moles times the constant ratio times the temperature. So you can calculate your volume if you know all the other stuff.
And that's John Pernert.
Thanks to John Pernert, son of Boyle.
Son of?
No.
No.
I mean, it's derived from.
Derived from the Big Daddy Boyle himself.
Yes.
He lanced that Boyle. Okay, so we talked about Mr. Pernert. Pernert! We're sure about this.
It's the gas law.
See, I'm done at Charles and Boyle's, and I conflate those two all the time. If I knew there was a Pernert out there, I would have kept pushing. Oh, nice.
Pernert.
Sick formula, dog.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some real...
One of my favorite equations. It's up there.
Because it's called Pernert.
Yeah. Mr. Pernert, where are we on chat? I am so sorry that we're far behind. Again,
here we go.
Now it's the producer's fault. Never mind.
Never, yeah. Now that I'm here.
Yes, well that's
take that.
It's so nice.
I like some of what Uninspired is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Uninspired's more of a cat guy, but if they had a big enough property, he would love a greyhound.
Greyhounds, man. Beautiful, majestic dogs. And such
gentle. So you get a big dog and a gentle... Well, most big dogs are gentle.
And such incredible opportunities for, there are a lot of opportunities to rescue greyhounds. Beautiful, incredibly well-behaved, trained dogs already from racetracks. I had a friend from university that adopted two retired racing greyhounds. Man, they're such cool dogs. They, we think of our dog diversity, and the body of a greyhound is just such an impressive, strange, weird-looking thing. But man, I hope you get the opportunity.
Skin and bones.
And I hope I get the opportunity to get a cat one day again. I grew up with cats. Love cats.
We kind of got not that cats are a space problem, but without the ability to just let the dogs outside, then a couple times we've come close. We've encountered kittens and been like, oh, but it's just not sustainable right now because there's no okay, dogs, go outside, leave the cat alone. We don't have that set up right now. But this great, Ron Swanson inspired. If you're gonna have a dog, you should get a big one for the real dog experience.
Ah, yes, dogs under.
What was Ron Swanson's rule?
Dogs under 50 pounds are cats.
So, definitely get a...
By that definition, we only have one dog.
I think...
He's not...
He's not 50?
No.
He's 45. We could... I'm an engineer. We could round up to 50.
Fair enough.
But it's definitely under.
Nart, you're still a cat. I think she's fine with that.
She's chewing up a toy. Which is great, because she can't bark and whine while she's doing that. And chewing up toys is her, most traditional way of interacting with toys, so.
There is a carnage of cotton underneath of me right now. A bloodbath of fibers. So, where were we? You got us caught up on chat. I see some new names here. I don't know if I know how to read them. Crash Override? Crash Override, if I got that right, says...
Oh, yeah.
What kind of cartridge is that? This is Red Planet, I believe, from Alien Labs.
You said it's probably the house brand?
Yeah, I think it's the house brand, one of the house brands of the dispensary I go to called Catalyst here in Long Beach, but they are all over Southern California. I think I've mentioned this before. They, if I had to guess, there's just no way.
No need to speculate.
Yeah. I appreciate the deals. I hope it's not supporting anything too bad.
You see that their deals seem like so much better than any other legal shops.
The guy who runs them, his name's Elliot something. I need to look it up. He has his own giant podcast studio where he runs like a weekly Weed for the People. I don't know if it still exists, but this did for a while. And like they spent tens of thousands of dollars on this studio for a podcast that would get 100 listens, and it's one of these many like where is we know the few things we know definitively about the California weed market is that it is cutthroat and not for anybody who is afraid of potentially losing a lot of money. And here's a company that in this industry that has razor thin margins, has prices that are bafflingly cheap, in that they also have money for infinite expansion and a podcast studio for some reason. I hope it's just because of their success and because they can make enough money on volume. That surely is it. That has to be it. I would love to be on your podcast, though, if you're out there, Elliot. I think you're the greatest guy, and I love your dispensaries a lot, and I think your podcast is amazing, and I think it could... the only reason I say it has low views is because I know it deserves more. I'm not saying I could do that, but that's all. That's the only reason I brought that up. There was no other suggestion there. Did you not find it? Is it maybe they nuked it from orbit?
I can't even find it on. Okay, let's see. It's Catalyst, and then Elliot.
Yeah, that's his first name. Elliot Lewis. Anyways, THC Temple, good to see you, man. We are doing well. Happy Easter to you. Thanks for being here, man. Good to see you again. Sega did answer the question, says he's playing the green team and plays classics, mostly like Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku 2. And to clarify, he meant the green classic is things like Army Men, Sarge's Heroes. Wow, you do mean classics. That's like PS1 generation, if I remember correctly. Man, what a nostalgia blast you just hit me with there, Sega. The franchise of Army Men. That was a massive franchise for about 5 years. There was all kinds of Army Men games, Army Men spin-offs, real-time strategies, versions, 3D, third-person shooters, just this explosion of Army Men games, and then it just dried up and went away. I cannot believe nobody has tried to resurrect that. You could imagine a great big budget indie game utilizing that franchise property for something cool. There was something always satisfying about being an Army Man, and even though it's the most restricted, boring kind of movement, your little green plastic guy with a base for feet, I had forgotten all about it. Army Men, and that's so cool that that's the kind of stuff that you're streaming, that era. People have nostalgia for every era, and I guess we keep moving forward with as people age into development, and the games that they played as youths are now the things that are getting, because we did with 8-bit, we did with 16-bit, and now we are clearly in the 32-bit early 3D graphics era of nostalgia games. There are quite a few of them. I think a lot of the boomer shooters maybe fall into that category. There are several games, big indie games, aping that really distinct early 3D graphic style. I don't know if it's for me. I mean, that was also my heyday, but unlike pixel art and stuff, it's a hard style to actually make look attractive today. You know, it's just it was real product of its era and technology of the time, why things looked the way they did, and it's hard to be this, you know, everything that you think you remember is with rose-colored glasses, and then you go back and you look at Ocarina of Time on an N64, and you're like, woof, this is not quite how I remembered. But with pixel art stuff, it's a little bit more how you remembered it. Again, almost thanks to the constraints. But again, that was a cool blast. I haven't thought about the Army Men games in who knows how long. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some studio, whoever owns the IP, give it to somebody to, you know, attempt to bring it back. Because they must have sold millions and millions of them back in the day.
Oh my gosh. I was totally zoned out. Because I did find Catalyst TV is they haven't posted in a while. But anyways.
I was going to say, I think you definitely zoned out. We've got the man himself.
Happy Easter! Jesus Christ, risen from the dead and in our chat.
Out of the cave. I just learned this history today. You disappeared from the cave. The rock is still there. Did you guys know this?
I mean, people who went to Sunday school know this.
Blew my mind. Rock still there, body gone. What's he doing? He's coming out and hanging out and saying hi to us. Jesus, we couldn't appreciate it more. Happy Resurrection Day. I hope to see you spookily appear behind me, in front of me, in dreams, whatever it is you do until Pentecost.
Something like that.
That's not a pentagram. That's just a...
No.
Yeah. Dope. Thanks for being here. I hope all is well with you, my friend.
THC Temple said, I remember seeing you on Weeats forever ago and was pumped when I saw you blow up. Jesus Christ. That's true. That was a long time ago.
Eons, in fact.
Eons.
Oh,
Dave the Diver.
Who recommended Dave the Diver?
Oh,
Dave the Diver.
Grovel's playing it right now.
I played Dave the Diver back when it was still on early access. I was playing on Steam Deck in, I think, December of 2022, and man, did I love it. The game deserves all of its accolades and love that it's received. It is, speaking of trends, it is one of those great trends of, all right, we're going to take several genres and smack them together and produce something new and novel. Dave the Diver also, to explain what those are, it is a game that has, we'll say, two different distinct things, but the longer you go, the more you see that it's even more than that. The game is kind of played over two phases. Both of them are super fun. One is a game where you take Dave, a sort of portly diver, a rotund, not the kind of guy you would think would be doing.
Yeah, not the first mental image of diver.
And he goes in under the water. He's got an oxygen meter and a harpoon gun. And you play this great little game where you're shooting fish with your harpoon gun, trying to reel them in, not run out of oxygen, and get your whole catch up before you run out of oxygen. And what are you doing with all those fish? Well, that's the second half of the game, where you play like a kind of like a Diner Dash style restaurant sim where you are running sushi orders. You're working for a sushi chef. You're a server, taking people their fish you caught earlier in the day that have now been turned into fancy dishes, getting them to patrons before they get pissed off, and then using all that money to get sicker harpoon guns to kill bigger, more glorious fish to feed to ever more hungry people at ever more exorbitant prices. It's beautiful, wonderful. If you think you meet aliens, you do. It's a game that keeps unfolding. It's wonderful. Dave the Diver, great recommendation. Grovel.
It's
Jesus,
on everything?
What's that?
Oh, it's on everything.
It is on, I assume everything. It is even on Switch. So I assume it's probably available on Xbox and PlayStation. I don't know that, but I'm going to say it's on everything.
Just say it, yeah.
I played it on Steam Deck quite a while ago now, before it was officially out, and it was great then, so I imagine it's only better now. Jesus, we missed the heck out of you too, my friend.
In our hearts, though.
In our hearts?
Jesus is always in our hearts.
Oh, right, yes. Literally always, and then especially on today, this second most holiest of days.
No, this is the holiest.
More so than the birth.
Yeah. This is the big act.
Right. Because if
Satan has been conquered.
If
Satan's not conquered just by the baby being born.
If Sydney Sweeney can have a virgin birth, it ain't that big a deal. Yeah, so Mary, you've been demoted. Sydney, promoted. I guess that one doesn't last 33 years.
Yeah.
And I don't think that one's coming back.
Just for, we saw Immaculate, her new horror film.
Sydney Sweeney's, we just saw, better than you might suspect, saw Immaculate yesterday, the Sydney Sweeney horror movie. Great movie for the day before Easter.
Great movie for someone who hates Italians.
Yes, which has got me, I love Italians. I mean, Italian, the country of Italy, not, it has a wonderful history that's everybody should be proud of. Italy, I love you. It's your great place to visit, and you have a wonderful history. It's true. Italy.
Well, the Romans killed Jesus.
The Romans killed Jesus. Then why do people always say that the Jews killed Jesus?
Yeah, why do they say that? Pontius Pilate's a Roman, right?
I think I have to wait for the Passion of the Christ 2 to find out.
Yeah, that's right.
We dedicated a bag to Mel Gibson not that long ago.
It had to be at least a while ago.
I mean, not that long ago. I think like 2 days ago.
Oh, you did okay. Since the resurrection,
I think we
you
dedicated
gave one to Mel Gibson.
Somehow we were talking about Mel Gibson not that long ago.
You dedicated a bag to him? No.
Oh.
We had better people to dedicate bags to. You dedicated a bag to Joe Lieberman rotting in hell.
I think that was a bag dedicated to somehow both Joe Lieberman and Mel Gibson, his future roommate in hell.
Okay. I must have missed that part.
God, they'd be great roommates, I think. Oh, no, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Mel Gibson's a famous, incredible anti-Semite.
But that's a good setup for hell, right?
Oh, right. That's somebody going to a bar.
Okay.
Mel Gibson and Joe Lieberman walking to a bar.
Major anti-Semite.
And everybody should probably just leave because it's about to get very boring.
I know. I remember. There's the film script about Mel. Any progress to share, or that's a little more behind the scenes at this point?
Jesus knows that despite his truly appalling anti-Semitism, his desire to drive on the drive while heavily intoxicated, his holier-than-thou attitude, and his generally abysmal acting career over the last 20 years, he can still get a bag dedicated to him. Hey, is it Daddy's Home? What movie was it that he was starting with Mark Wahlberg? Daddy's Home 2.
Probably,
If
yeah.
Hollywood can forgive him again,
Daddy's Home 3.
having a bag dedicated to you, of course, in no way means it is an endorsement of you. Because, again, Joe Lieberman got one to him in hell. Just, Apocalypto was cool.
Can I just drop this link in chat? Oh, well, no, boy, I'm really...
The answer is, you are a lot, totally, of course. Technically, are you capable of it? That is to be determined. Dasher says,
All right.
if you build your own church, then you can do what you want. There do seem to be a lot of people, pushing that. Thankfully, sadly, let me take back. Thankfully, sadly, we do know, thanks to the Supreme Court, actually, and a landmark decision in the 90s, that just because you are part of a religious organization, group, affiliate,
doesn't give you total free reign.
there was the big decision over peyote, a Native American group, which I know isn't strictly a religious group.
It's also a separate nation.
Yeah, and, different, but anyways, it doesn't matter. For their intents and purposes, I think they made the argument that it was a freedom of religion act that, claim that they should be able to consume peyote for their religious rituals, and the Supreme Court said, nope. Now, that being said, it seems we've kind of just forgotten that, which seems to be, Supreme Court, we don't really care anymore what, it's all about feelings now. Instead of laws, it's feelings. And the feelings right now say churches are being allowed to get away with a lot more expansive use and claiming of rights. There are a lot of churches that will use psychedelics and claim freedom of religion, which is what peyote is. And it doesn't seem like anybody's really shutting them down unless they're trying to use that as a way to actually sell drugs. But if it's really just like people doing, you don't really see much crackdown on that practice. Of course, in certain states it's been like enshrined that, certain substances can be used for religious purposes that aren't otherwise legal. But we do have to be careful that technically, if the nation ever decides to go back to things like laws instead of feelings for the way we determine the things are legalistic matters, you could find a world where they come after you for setting up a church to do whatever it was that we were going to set up a church to do. Now, that being said, if you want to just set up a church to basically steal money from poor people to enrich a very few through a religious tax exemption, if it's just about money,
The U.S. is pretty good for that.
do it. You'll always get your tax exempt. I promise you on that one. That's a Weeats guarantee, double stamp, triple stamp. You always get that religious tax exemption. Small asterisks, teeny tiny asterisks. As long as you are one of the preferred, as long as you're a Christian and one of the preferred ones of those. Catholics, yes. Most Presbyterians, yes. What's that? White? Well, yeah, that's... Well, no, I think they'd be happy to... I mean, there are a lot of... They're not going to exclude the Korean Baptist churches or the many Latino-derived churches. I think they'll still consider those, but nothing too fringy. I think, you know what, let's just say Episcopalians, you're out. You're done. Your tax exemption's gone. Catholic light, not on my watch.
Too light.
Yeah. All of the pageantry, none of the guilt. That's what they say about Episcopalians. I say all of the pageantry, none of the moolah. Episcopalians, you're done when Donald Trump's in charge. Your tax exemption's gone. I don't know why. I think it's a pretty liberal
Also,
organization.
Well, because yes, I know about Episcopalians.
You burnt.
Controversially, I mean, in the church, of course, slightly controversially, they had gay priests, like openly gay. I mean, obviously, you know, Catholics have a problem, but nobody's like, I'm gay, make me, you know, the bishop. Whereas Episcopalians were like, yeah, that's okay, and women can also be priests.
Here's how I feel about it. And like many things, I'll describe how I feel about it. It's in a Simpsons joke. When Rod and Todd Flanders are playing Billy Graham's Bible Blasters, and Bart shoots a non-believer, and Bart goes, got him, converted him. And Rod and Todd go, no, you just winged him. He's a Unitarian. Well, I think also, if you just wing them there, they might also be just Episcopalians, which, you know, is not even a quarter of the points you could get, I think.
Also, just, yeah, like you said, Donald Trump's America, there's something sort of unpatriotic about Episcopalians, because it's basically the American arm of the Church of England.
But is there anything more American than divorce?
I mean...
Well, and not in the states that are considering trying to start...
Baptists are cool with divorce, so...
For them, it's like abortion. The only, you know...
Oh. They can do it, but you shouldn't do it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else should have to strive through their marriage, but I gotta get away from my bitch wife. Donald Trump's America.
Yeah.
Happy Easter. Buy one of those $60 Bibles. Speaking of religious tax exemption and using that, you know, tax exempt status
what was the quote? He's like, it's a beautiful book. I have so many in my home. Like, you don't ever, I mean, of course, his followers will, I'm sure, buy multiple copies. But, like, the point of a Bible is you don't need, like, lots of extra copies of it.
What's the name of his compound again? The Mar-a-Lago is also a hotel, and in the hotel there are dozens of Gideon's Bibles. He has dozens of Bibles. Yeah.
So he was being honest.
Yes.
Because his home.
What are the Gideons?
The people who give free Bibles.
Where do they get them?
No, it's just a tautology. It's like, who gives the free Bibles in the hotels? Oh, it's the Gideons. And it's like, who are the Gideons? They're like, then you say the Gideons are the ones who give the Bibles for free in the hotels.
Grovel asks, what are you guys doing for the upcoming eclipse? Unfortunately, I won't be doing what I did for the previous eclipse, Grovel. Which was watch it with my buddy Jesus, which is the way you want to watch all eclipses. It's really, if you think it's a majestic experience before,
what a way to.
It's positively
elevate it. I don't think we're gonna see the eclipse at all. It's
pretty far from us. We did
mostly in the middle and eastern, like middle of the country. It's kind of like diagonal down the middle. And I thought I mean, because I was looking at it after the 2017 one. I was like, wow, this was a great experience. Need to plan ahead. And I even have family near the right areas in Illinois. But it's just, I don't know. We're just busy here streaming.
Yeah, those old dogs again. It's hard to. It is very, very, very difficult to drive to go somewhere with a Great Dane who is can't even make it into a car anymore. She's so old. So we've been more homebound recently. It's very hard to, but which is a-okay.
We're just weenies about, I mean, I know there are plenty of people who dog sit, house sit, all that stuff, but we don't have quite a good enough setup
I
to invite someone else into the chaos.
I will miss it, Grovel, for absolute certainty. It is a truly incredible, like, something almost you feel reptilian in your brain responds to it. Like, it is such a disquieting feeling. It's really like nothing you've ever experienced if you've never been through an eclipse, which most people I assume have not. So I am sad to miss it, but we'll catch the next one, I guess.
Maybe.
Now, Grovel, if I remember correctly, I don't want to say it out loud because I'll feel like such a dunderhead, but I'm going to write it on this here paper.
Are you going to make me say it?
No. We're just going to write something here. If I am correct, Grovel, you are in the path of the ecliptic. If I remember where you live, I didn't write something down that I think I remembered where you live. It wasn't what I was doing. But I think if so, are you, what is your plan? What's the actual day?
The 9th?
The 9th? That soon?
Yeah, it's just like, it's not long away.
Jesus, that was an amazing road trip. It was,
the 8th.
It was 40 hours probably round trip.
This is a non-stop road trip.
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
Interspersed with like a 5-hour nap. Thanks to
and then a couple hours
a very generous person.
Parking lot outside of a
like CVS or something. On Oregon, or is it Idaho?
It was Idaho.
Idaho, right on the border there. The part of
no, we drove into Oregon for the actual viewing.
Gotcha.
I think that's right.
Well, if that's true, the part of Oregon that wants to be part of Idaho.
Probably, yeah. But yeah, I mean, just knowing that that's happening is so cool that, like, when you're there in the path of totality, you're gonna see people set up in parking lots, and they're gonna be like, I mean, not that we were at a spot that was like a great congregating spot, but there were, of course, still people there with their incredible equipment, their incredible generosity, their cool families.
Multiple 18-wheelers that had just pulled off, like guys up and down, going down the interstate.
Truck drivers taking a pause, like safe,
just
and,
pulling. It was awesome.
Interested. Yeah.
It was a rare, truly pan culture, pan whatever human moment. Like everybody in that parking lot for that time was just like dazzled at this same thing, like looking at each other all awestruck at the same moment. Like everybody felt more marginally, connected in some way to the people around them. And then we all got in our vehicles and never saw each other again. But for those 7 minutes, it was like, man, I'm never going to forget you guys. Don't remember what they look like. I did just recently find, holy shit, on some random drive, I shot a Weeats review during the eclipse, in the middle of it. I mean, not during the actual, I wasn't filming as the eclipse was going overhead, but I, took an edible 90 minutes before and then filmed the thing right after. And I had my camera, and I lost the footage of the actual eclipse, and I found it just recently. I need to, should upload it at some point, from a long, long time ago, that beautiful trip.
Yeah.
Uninspired says, what do you think is the best THC product for someone to experience weed for the first time? Probably not a dab. I'd say certainly not a dab.
Definitely not a dab.
Almost certainly no edibles of any, I wouldn't give somebody even a small edible for the first time, because either the temptation to the fact that it takes so long to come on for some people, and especially the first time, you don't know how much it's going to require to affect somebody. I think probably a combustible, even a vape pen, is maybe not bad, but I think because they have such high THC, I guess you can get a, one with lower THC quantity. Unless you're being very careful or making sure the guy doesn't go overboard or girl, you might get too much. But just puffing a joint until you feel kind of high is a time-honored, time-tested thing. Cheap, easy. There is some damage to your lungs that may not be present in vaping, but assuming you're doing this for the first time and not going to build a immediate lifelong habit, I think you're not going to risk giving yourself cancer smoking a joint the first time. That's what I'm going to go with.
That's not a medically approved bit of advice.
It's all about flipping one cell from a normal cell to a cancerous cell, and it's all about probabilities. And if somebody had exposure
to the volcano bag, like you have right here, what would you say about that?
I think that would be fine too. It's sort of similar in
vape pen or vape bag.
It just requires more hardware. But if you're talking about somebody doing weed for the first time and you're just out with them, everybody knows what a joint is too. Like that is the thing people have been smoking the longest. So it's not intimidating like some other things. I mean, this just looks intimidating. And that's part of it too, right? Like you want people to be in a great headspace and to feel, not like, oh man, this is a big, scary plastic bag with a bunch of stuff coming in my lungs, but everybody knows what a cigarette is, and everybody has seen a joint in a movie, so there's something very unintimidating, I think you can feel very comfortable with it. I don't know, I'm overthinking it, but a joint, that's going to be my...
That's your answer.
Too long to arrive at answer.
If
Failing that, the 10,000 milligram gummies that Sage was munching on earlier. That whole third of an ounce of THC, straight THC, that would be my second choice. But you could probably do just half that for the first time.
Oh, you got accused of being all stony baloney.
That might be true. You guys tell me. All right, third bag. And this bag, of course, has to be dedicated to the man, the myth, the legend, the resurrected, the one, the only, JC.
JC.
And not, actually somebody named JC. I knew a lot of JCs growing up. I have not met a JC in a long time.
Did they spell it Jaycee or
both of them were initials?
Both of them were initials. Okay, just checking.
A Jonathan Christopher and a Jonathan something else. Maybe also Christopher.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd have to be Christopher, right?
They're both little punks.
As the name, sounds.
I've never known one of those Jaycees.
Okay, yeah.
Which I do prefer. I'm not a.
You're not.
Don't do it. Don't do.
You're
why?
Not a nickname guy.
Why John Christopher with the intention of calling them JC?
The parents might not have had the intention of JC. That could just be the kid taking control there.
Does that seem possible since, these kids I knew since kindergarten?
Okay.
Now, that is also...
When you learned.
That Weeats was my name. When somebody said, do you want to be...
Do you want to go by the full version of the name?
Weeatsington or Weeats? I was like, I can just choose a different one? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, drop that Ington. I'm just Weeats. And then they said, that is also not your name. And that is how I flunked kindergarten. It was traumatic. Anyways,
after fearing that the whole kindergarten was going to be shot down by the helicopter.
Yes, that was a Jonathan, not a
JC.
not a Jonathan Christopher. That was just a Jonathan.
Just Jonathan.
Yeah, just John. It's how I'm on the first day. He was like, on my very first day of kindergarten, I met a wonderful fellow named Jonathan, and he was like, "Don't worry." It's like, I'm never gonna have. You don't have to come back to school ever again. You know. I was like, "What do you mean? What?" I thought that's what my life was going to be going forward. I'm paraphrasing somewhat here. He's like, "No." He goes, "I've got a helicopter at home. I'm the only person in the state my age who can fly a helicopter. I just have to have my mom with me, and it's got missiles. I don't know. This is a long time ago. This is pre-Columbine." He goes, "I'm just gonna blow it up. I'm gonna blow up the school. It won't." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you don't have to come. Don't even bother. It won't be here tomorrow." And I remember naive, dumbass little Wheatsington going like, "Hey, I don't think I have to go to school anymore." And they're like, "What the hell do you mean?" I was like, it's not gonna be there. And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, I know a guy. He's got a helicopter.
I know a guy.
It's got missiles. He's the only guy in the state who can do it. All he has to do is have his mom there. And they're like, "I bet you're wrong." And I was like, we're going to see a smoldering ruin. And sure enough, we come over the hill, and the elementary school looks pretty much the same as the day before. And Jonathan assured me that the helicopter was either out of gas or some kind of maintenance, but that the
I don't remember he had an excuse for it.
Yeah, there was just like, you know. But at that point, the illusion was done. Like,
yeah.
I've never trusted another human being since. Like, he fed the line of bullshit, but at that point I was out. He broke me. Jonathan, if you're out there,
your naivete just abolished in that one moment.
If you still have 24 hours. I'm giving you 24 hours. If you can still manage to blow it up, my faith in humanity will be restored. Tick-tock, Jonathan, you're on the clock.
So on April 1st.
Oh yeah, that sets yourself up for some failure. And possibly not a demolished elementary school. Yeah. It's probably not there anymore anyways. Time is a cruel bitch.
Yeah.
But Jonathan, if you are out there, if you're watching with some of the other people we wondered if they've been watching recently, I can't think of any of their names, that we accuse of watching. Like Joe Lieberman from Hell.
Right.
I'm really disappointed in you. I'm really... You did me a dirty one. That being said, I forgive you.
Yeah. You grew up over the past 3 or so decades, and
he's how I learned about also, believe it or not, he had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Believe it or not.
He would often talk about how much he looked forward to getting his pills that he had to leave 10 minutes for before lunch every day. That made it so that he could sit there and grind his teeth.
Oh.
Jonathan, if you're out there,
I hope your dental health is okay.
Yeah, and I thanks for watching. I don't know what you're doing today. Okay, well, we talked about Jonathan. We've talked about my elementary school that didn't get blown up. I don't know how we got there. We do have our bag.
Truth, yeah, you dedicated it, but you've really done nothing with it. Oh,
uninspired.
Oh, wow.
What a question. I'm sorry, I'm skipped everything else. I just saw it. We'll come back. It says, would you rather reset human medical knowledge 300 years or human social progress 300 years? I mean, that feels like it's out of hey, a great dinner party question handbook. It's so perfectly calibrated to make you go, oh, wait, obviously it's, no,
Yeah,
it's
you
clearly, shit is the answer. Fuck.
Man, I don't like leashes.
300 years. So let's go back 300 years.
Have you ever had a leech on you?
I don't believe so.
Oh, really?
I have had multiple ticks on places that you really don't want them.
You don't want to tick anywhere.
Yes, but I've had ticks in very bad places. I'm so lucky I don't have Lyme disease or a meat allergy because I used to work, when I worked in an entomology lab, I would come home with sometimes in the dozens of small, what are called sea ticks attached to me, which are actually a pretty big vector for some of those things. Not so much like the Lone Star ticks, those are worse, but it was gross.
Ticks in general, yeah.
Gross, nasty, disgusting. Ticks. Why are we on ticks? How do we get to ticks?
Well, I asked about leeches.
Oh,
because of the resetting human medical knowledge.
Right, leeches. Oh shit, that's how that excellent question.
Yeah, I also sidestepped the question, but I was just thinking about leeches are pretty bad in my. I mean, they're definitely worse in my mind. I think I did have one leech that I had to get off my body one time, but
there's so much. Oh, and it depends also what. Let's say from a typical Western perspective, because if we went back 300 years in China or 300 years in, say, India, it would be a very different kind of both medical knowledge and social structures that would be prevailing, that we would, because human social progress is not, in some ways, not that medical knowledge is linear. It's very much, ups and downs and stalls and even occasionally dips. But it's pretty linear, right? Like we add to what we know about medical knowledge, and we slowly make humans live longer because we get better at healing ourselves and curing diseases and whatnot. It's not perfectly, exact rate, but it's mostly up and to the right in terms of like how good we are. Social progress is both would not look anything like that. It would be far more jagged, so up and down. It wouldn't be whatever snapshot in history you take would look very different. It's so there's not much cumulative. There's definitely some.
I think there's a definitive answer, and to prove how definitive it is, I would be pointing to an old Louis C.K. act that we saw live back before he was disgraced, and back when I thought he was, one of the most deep thinkers on the comedy scene. I was such a fan. It makes me so sad every time I think about what he did and what he is now. But to separate as much as we can't. But the art and the artist, great bit about, he's like, time travel, like white people can, if somebody is excited about time travel into the past and not the future, they gotta be white people.
Because if you are a person of color and to travel back into the past would be to travel into a place where the world would presumably be a lot worse for you. Again, it depends on...
If you're in the Western world,
yes,
right? If
yes.
you've been stolen from your own land, yeah.
That is, although, kind of a more shallow perspective, because people of color were treated I'm not saying they were treated extremely well or without all kinds of malice and racist thoughts, but like triangle trade, slave trade type stuff, people of color were not uniformly considered as, especially black people weren't just immediately considered property. The people you would see would be more often like merchants and travelers or whatever. So your immediate impression wasn't, and a reason for treating people wouldn't have been reflexively so awful. It actually that's what I'm kind of talking about the
jaggedness.
The jaggedness is that I'm not saying it would be perfectly easy everywhere throughout Europe pre-slave trade, but it very possibly could have been better for you than it would be 300 years in the future if you're walking around in 1780 or 1620 or whatever in somewhere through continental Europe. That's just the nature of human progress is all over the place. So I'm going to sidestep that and instead bring up one of the coolest observations and most optimistic observations, things that I've read in the past quite a while. Great book from last year called Determined by Robert Sapolsky, which if you ever watch our live streams long enough, you will hear me talk about exactly that all over again for years and years, which is about determinism and free will and how we don't actually have it and there's no such thing, and we need to really grapple with the ramifications that we don't actually control any of our actions. That's neither here nor there, but there is a thing in the book that I found incredibly moving and optimistic, and I'll share it with you because it is something about human social progress and the ways that we truly as humans can progress in terms of the way we treat others and see others. So, he understands that it might seem hopeless, that we will ever, as a globe, as a society, be able to treat people of a different skin color or a different maybe mental disposition, people with mental illnesses as somebody that we should actually, instead of being treating warily or having these awful biases about, but instead having compassion for it. It just seems right now impossible. We've actually backslid a lot. We have. In some groups, we now treat worse than we did 5 years ago. And so it seems you can't ever truly make humans change their mind about a group of people that we're prejudiced about. But he comes up with an incredible counterexample, and I think it is brilliant. And that's what I'll share as a thing of so there really has been some human social progress. We have shed culturally, almost totally globally, a horrendous bias that we had about a group of people that we thought awful things about that now everybody thinks of as these are people with a, unfortunate genetic predisposition, and we treat them with total compassion and sympathy. And that is epilepsy. For literally thousands of years, people with epilepsy were, depends where you were and at what time, how awfully people viewed you and how skeptically and how shunned you might be. But, anything from being, just being viewed skeptically to getting yourself killed for all the sin of having something not under your control, going into having seizures. And now that we understand what epilepsy is, and neurologically it is not something anybody can control. It's not witchcraft. It's not a sign of a character deficiency. It is something going haywire in the wiring of your brain temporarily, sending you into a fit that you cannot control and do not remember. And now almost universally, we have gone from thinking of these people as, again, witches or whatever, to oh man, we got to help this person. Like they're something bad is happening that they can't control. And I think that's a great example, and I think something that we can, do for others as well as we sort of understand more about behaviors and whatever else, whatever reasons we have for treating people differently. So, yes.
For the party question?
Yes.
Is that a medical change or a social change?
That is a social oh, shit! Damn.
It's intertwined, right?
Yeah.
Because
wow.
it took understanding medically what it was.
Yeah. Oh, and it was a great, again, because it was reflexive. It was like, oh, of course it's this. But it's like, oh, shit. No, it's definitely like, I don't know. It is both.
That was my first reaction to the question was like, how can you isolate our social progress from our medical progress? Because, of course, they are intertwined.
Totally entangled with one another. Oh man, wow, that was a long-winded answer, and I'm sorry, but it was such a good question.
Such a great question. Thank you, Uninspired.
Let me hydrate. What was the term we ended up choosing? So I was gonna say
lubricate.
That's worse than wet my whistle. I'm gonna lubricate over here, guys. I do sound robotic. Got to keep the gears turning. Where are we on chat? I'm sorry, I went on a long rant.
We're caught up except for
Arkansas Gravel.
Yeah, they.
Did you show him the note? I just wanted to write that I did write down when I was like, I don't want to say in case I forgot, but
Here you go.
Gravel is from My Light's Too Bright. There is a lot of dog hair on that post-it.
Oh no, that's so gross.
Arkansas, yes, which I think is in the path of the ecliptic, but I could be wrong.
Wait, didn't we,
Little Rock
is Eureka Springs is gonna have is that where the what's the Mr. Platz's former place? I can't think of the name.
Yes. It will be there. Oh,
Atlas
Obscura.
Atlas Obscura.
That's not for anybody. That was just for us.
That was just for us. Atlas Obscura. A cool little organization. If you've ever been to their website.
I'm sorry if there's sound playing. Okay, no, there's not. I was just if
you've ever been to their website.
Oh shit, that did happen.
Don't do that.
That was bad. I'm so sorry, that was bad.
Is that gonna make a... No.
It should be okay. I mean,
okay.
There shouldn't be too much feedback. Okay.
Sega asked if, as wheat, do you also like wheat thins?
Do I like wheat thins? Yes. Excellent cracker.
Doesn't?
Who doesn't? Great question.
Yeah.
They're not my favorite.
What's your favorite cracker?
Myself. But my favorite, snack-based cracker, and objectively, let's just be clear, the best baked snack food. Period. The best cheese-based snack.
Cheese-based.
No. Just I'm even took it a whole category up. I didn't narrow it. And not just baked crackers, but cheese-based snacks.
Of all cheese-based snacks. The plain Cheez-It is perfection in square format. It is, all four sides are equal, and it has that little cushion hole in the middle.
It's got the cushion hole. That patented yummy cushion hole. Yes, it does. It does have the cushion hole. The Cheez-It is the best cracker. Let's be honest. I did bring the best candy though, because it is Easter, and I thought,
jelly beans.
I'm a big jelly beans guy. Jelly beans are the world's riskiest candy, though. There is no middle ground in a jelly bean. Well, there are some. There are very few. It's just it is so unevenly distributed. Those curves are at the very ends of jelly beans. There are terrible jelly beans, and there are divine jelly beans.
Brocks.
Yeah, there are Brocks. The jelly beans that probably are the most, maybe, were for a long time the most famous,
like traditional,
recognizable jelly beans. Those
definitely the Easter basket
nasty,
jelly beans.
waxy, shitty, awful globs of piss and shit that
They got licorice flavor in them.
Ugh. Yeah. Shame on you, Brox. Shame on you. So jelly beans are, but on the high end, there's so many incredible ones. All the branded ones. Jelly Ranchers, Starburst, yum. Give me another candy. Sweet Tarts, yes. Warheads, Mamma Mia.
This year we saw Sour Patch Kid jelly beans.
Sour Patch Kids, ooh la la. But the best jelly bean is a hybrid. Now, we always end up, somehow we come back to nerds often on Weeats, and nerds are nerds as an actual product category, not great. Not a big fan of nerds.
Of just regular nerds.
There's come the two little things.
But you loved all their spinoffs.
All their spinoffs are incredible. And the big chewy nerds are the best of them all. It is just like we got Godzilla cross King Kong, this is Nerds cross jelly beans. Nerds does jelly beans. They've been doing them right for at least 13 years now. And it's like a great jelly bean, perfect inside, but on the outside you got a crunchy nerd shell. It's Easter, and the thing that Jesus wants us to do more than anything is to eat candy. Well, I guess he wants us to hang out and get, high together or whatever right now.
Share some.
Look at these little things of joy. A little spiky. They look like viruses. Yum. So let's pop some viruses and send this one out to nerds. Nerds, I'm available for sponsorship. I'll say whatever you need me to say. Damn, that's a good jelly bean.
Chewy nerd, gummy nerd clusters, which is basically just like a cut up version of Nerds Ropes.
Which is great. Damn. Get you some big chewy nerds. Bonus tip, this is the best cherry on top I've ever given. The best piece of advice. Get out, scour those grocery stores tomorrow, because you might get lucky. And you might find some big chewy nerds, big ass bags. I'm talking those big ass honking bags on Easter clearance. You could buy 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bags. Last you 2 or 3 weeks. Come back. Tell nerds I sent you. We'll come back and we'll talk more about nerds. Damn, these are so good. Happy Easter, everybody. I have to talk, though.
Jelly Belly are good.
Yeah.
But they're too expensive.
That's why you go for the belly flops.
I don't know. I even had, it's just fun to, if I'm going to get Jelly Bellies, I get them at, Marshall's. So then at least they're, 30% off.
Is capitalism distilled in its purest form? Bertie Bott's every flavored beans?
Sure.
Paying for something, paying a premium for a product that might make you sick.
There's a required in the box is 15% of it is booger flavored.
Well, for some that's not so bad.
Uninspired is really plugged into the food top. Alleges Triscuits are heavily slept on as far as crackers go. I came from a Triscuit family. I like there's the fun variation. The classic Triscuit is a classic cracker. Then you can get the little thin triangle ones. That, that's a nice mix. Make it even thinner. And then I think right now I have a box with, like, rosemary and olive oil. And it's so herby and delicious.
I think Triscuits, though, are for the people with drive. Triscuits are for your people who, they're for strivers.
Because it so resembles the shredded wheat cereal.
Yes.
It's like the shredded wheat cereal where, like,
And
okay, you only eat shredded wheat cereal if you're trying to eat healthy.
And I see people, like, with Triscuits often putting stuff on it.
Yeah,
like,
so that's another thing. You know how
cutting stuff. That's what I'm saying. They're for strivers. Like...
And that's, the Triscuit is such a great vehicle for, like, a little slice of cheese.
If you're going to be...
A little slice of salami.
If you're going to be cutting up salami and slicing cheese, you might as well be making a Pop-Tart. If you're going to go through all the effort...
Yeah, it's just too much effort for you. I do get that.
Yeah, so Triscuits... It's the shredded wheat of
you also just don't like the cheese on a cracker. You just don't like you're just like give me the cheese baked into the cracker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Save me the step.
But then on the candy subject,
mm-hmm.
What is the best flavor of fruity candy and why is it watermelon? And also a huge Nerds Rope fan.
Oh no, uninspired. I'm so sorry. We're going to have to disagree. And it's weird because I was actually going to bring this up as another, hey, smug pat on the back here. My one contribution to science was discovering the blue raspberry law back when I was a child. My name isn't on the paper, but, everybody knows that I discovered the blue raspberry law, the blue candy law, which is that blue, if there are flavors to choose from, blue, as long as blue does not correspond to something foul, not that by itself is, like cotton candy or vanilla, which rarely, but sometimes it is, blue gets, like with ice cream, like blue is just like vanilla. It's like, you bastard.
Yeah, the Superman
how dare
ice cream.
you? How dare you do that to blue? Now, I know Frank Reynolds also, but I really discovered the law before Frank Reynolds did, that blue is the best. But when there are flavors that one can choose from, blue is always the best, as long as it is corresponding to a blue flavor, like a blue raspberry or a blue polar explosion. It can be a different kind of blue, but you'll know a blue when you see it. So blue is always the best flavor. And now it is backed up by data, because go to like your candy aisle at your grocery store and look at how many bags of candy have just the blues now. You can get Sour Patch Kids, blues only. You can get Skittles. I know that Starburst has their little thing with pink. That's okay. It's an outlier. But Starburst doesn't have a blue. If Starburst had a blue, they'd have a whole bag of just blues. They know that they're playing with fire, Starburst. I'm sure their food scientists have been working on it for 20 or 30 years. They're worried what might happen to the population when blue Starburst comes out. Maybe DARPA is involved. I don't know. But all that being said, blue is the best flavor of fruit and candy. It definitively is. Just look at your candy aisle and look at all the blue candies. There is a blue Starburst.
That is drink and Jello flavored.
Oh, you can only get it in drink and Jello flavored.
Or Duos. I remember Duos.
Oh, the brand extensions, man, I love it. I didn't know we could get Starburst drink now.
Well, oh yeah, the candy flavored drinks is like all the thing for the water talk now.
Man, I missed out.
That's why you have your big fancy tumbler, is so that you can...
I can drink Skittle?
Yes.
What am I doing here?
Oh, boy.
Blue is the best flavor of Skittle, by the way. I mean, just there's a blue Skittle. It's the best Skittle, no doubt about it.
You have to go to the tropical or the
wild berry, yeah.
flavored.
But there's a blue, and it is.
I'm a lime Skittle girl. I do really like the Sour Patch watermelons, and so do you. I think you needed to say that.
Yeah, watermelon's a great flavor. It's
just not. You just can't abide by someone saying it's the best.
Yeah, but watermelon is often the runner-up. If there is no blue, watermelon for sure. Which is weird because watermelon is usually a very flavorful candy, but watermelon, the fruit, really,
You don't know. You've never eaten a watermelon.
I've eaten plenty of boring-ass watermelon.
No, it's so good.
I mean, it tastes like,
Water?
Whoever just called
Named
it, yeah, they really got it in one.
Oh, boy.
Watermelon. Okay, let's finish this bag and do ourselves a blinker before we go. Sorry, Jesus. It's a little slow on the draw here.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna keep you on track.
Owen Inspire did say that Nerds Rope are his favorite candy. And that they had no idea that they made jelly beans. Be on the lookout for them, big chewy nerds. Incredible.
They changed up the market. It was like Nerds jelly beans just at Easter, but they made it a year-round thing. Most often found in the, as Weeats demonstrated, the movie theater box.
I think you forgot the amazing alliterative name that they once had.
Big Bumpy Beans.
They used to be called Nerds Big Bumpy Beans. And now it's been downgraded to Big Chewy. But if I gotta eat Big Chewies, I'll eat them. I would have preferred to eat Big Bumpies, but I'm gonna eat my beans either way. They're healthy for you. It's a legume. Or is it a lentil?
That's still a legume.
I know all about my legumes and lentils.
Yeah. I think now you made me doubt. I have to do some lentil
Hey Siri,
research.
Is a nerd a legume or a lentil?
Legumes are plants in the family Fabaceae, or the fruit or seeds of such plants. That was from Wikipedia.
It's a lentil. Grovel, you're so right, and I live in the land of incredible, wonderful, amazing farmers markets.
I mean, even the store-bought produce is pretty good in Southern California. I think compared to shopping in Tennessee.
We're closer to the farms that they come from in Mexico.
Yeah.
Not that they're, actually from California.
But there are also incredible farmers markets, of course.
Yes. All right, bag is done.
It's done?
All right, this blinker...
You nursed that, man.
I did. This blinker, guys... Oh! You gotta dedicate this one.
Oh, that's okay.
No, please, I insist. Please. For me. I dedicate it to you in the service of dedicating it to whomever.
I'm gonna throw it out to everybody hanging out with us on Easter.
Beautiful again.
Yeah.
You think I would have stolen that by now? It's so perfect.
It's fine.
Anyways, here we go. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. It's been a blast hanging out on Easter and on yesterday too. Don't normally do this on the weekends, but it's been rainy and cold here, so
Worked out well.
yes. Thanks everybody, especially you, J-Man. So awesome to hang out with you on the day of your resurrection, and hope to do it.
Busy day.
On a less important day for you as well.
In the ecclesiastical calendar, as it's cleared up for a little while.
See you on Pentecost. I think you can hit the button.